Perfect. Okay, thank you again, everyone, for being here. So I'm really excited to be sharing this. As I've mentioned, if you're on my newsletter, you might have read that I really feel called to work with trance meditation. I really love pulling from among many kind of different places that my family is from, the work of the trance. On my maternal side, there is the Norse tradition of Sever, um, which is basically the work of the seeress. And now I know that there could also be male or kind of probably non-conforming gendered people who did this. So I personally think that this is a space for anyone who would actually like to participate. So you really can be a seer, a seeress. I think seer is a pretty good gender neutral term, but you're welcome to correct me. I am always open for being corrected. But, working with that kind of seeing energy and doing so by going into a trance. And what the people, the vulvas, or you might say vulvae, if you wanted to use kind of a more gender neutral gender, is that you would, these people would basically have their kind of meditation chair, their meditation staff, and they might even have their meditation belt. And they would basically always have these things on them and kind of get onto their throne, their sort of magical throne. And they would just kind of go within and fly, which if you've come to some of the moon circles, is sort of my favorite way to explain working with the spirits, working with meditation, working with the deities is kind of just, even if you're going internally, you're also sort of going into sort of an unusual space that's beyond kind of the physical. So that I think is always really exciting. And this is something that is like very, very old tradition, working with this trance state, working with this ability to not only see the future, but to hear kind of the messages that were meant for you. For anyone who's into the tarot or into psychic readings or even into kind of spiritual mediumship, that there's a place that you kind of have to be in to receive. And if you don't, then if you don't do that, I'm sure you have your own, very important and helpful way that you read. But I was kind of taught that one of the best ways to be a reader of any kind, and that way a seer, is to go into trance first. So it's about really kind of like being able to see the true wisdom, the true knowledge that's within us, the true wisdom, the true knowledge of the universe, and kind of the way the workings of fortune and the workings of our path. Beyond that, I also really feel strongly called to work with the Sufi tradition. For those who might say it's not Islam, I do want to say irrevocably it is. Sufism, it is kind of, it's a mystical Islam, but that's, kind of what's beautiful about it is that there is this sense that like, if you're connecting to the divine, there's only one divine. And I personally believe that there's many kinds of divines and that they're all many faces of the one being in a way. And either way, I'm not here to preach to you. I do have one point, which is that whenever you hear Sufism, it is Islam, and don't let people tell you otherwise. But nonetheless, I think that when we're connecting to the divine and we're doing so, we're really connecting to, you could even call it the universe, the universal life force. You're connecting to, Reiki. You're connecting to just like this amazing, like, consciousness that is so beyond what our day-to-day is. And that I think is what's very special about working with Sufism. And what's very important about Sufism is that was also all about the trance. It was about sama, and sama was the practice of literally listening and remembering. It was about, as you may have heard of whirling dervishes, about kind of the ritual of going literally into a trance so that you could listen to the voice of the divine. And you could do so in an act of remembrance, not only of the existence of the divine, but of the fact that you are a being that is a container for the consciousness of the divine. And that kind of relation can kind of only be found through some form of trance. And I'm not going to ask us to be getting up and doing whirling today because if you haven't been able to tell, I'm also kind of disabled and I'm not so great on my feet half the time either, though there is a beauty in being able to hobble and still spin. But nonetheless, I think that it's not really about having to get up and spin, really. It's more about how can I really connect to remembering who I truly am? And how can I do so with, through the power of my own mind? More than that, if you don't kind of work from either of those traditions or they don't inspire you for whatever reason, and you're kind of interested in more modern forms of thought, where I was originally taught trance specifically was someone who was basically a disciple of the Edgar Cayce Society in New York. You might have heard of Karen Francis. And she specifically, actually, she's a spiritual medium, and Edgar Cayce and kind of the whole spiritualist movement as we see it, and all of the work of working with any spirits is one in which you have to start by just simply opening yourself as a receiver to spirit. And the only way to do that is to be fully clear within yourself and then to just let the divine in. And the divine can come in and basically tell you anything. And, Edgar Cayce, for better or worse, had a lot of messages to share while going into trance. And what's special about each and every one of us is that the more that we go into trance, the more that we will have our own messages to share for ourselves, from ourselves, and for others as well. So I invite you to, that's why it's helpful to have the notebook, of course, is that when you go into trance, you will be hearing things probably. Some people may hear nothing, or some people might not even, be able to hear more than just like what's their deepest thoughts coming up. And all of that's okay. But you might also hear kind of like some really distinct truths that you might feel are very helpful for your path ahead. And that's why I actually decided to kind of do this circle first earlier in the month going forward. And then we'll be doing our alchemy month circle later in the month, because this is a great way to hear, like, what do you need out of the rest of your month? And then think about, well, when I get into alchemy circle, what do I need to manifest now? How do I make that message a reality? So in a way, they're kind of connected. So I think that there's so much to say about how can we, what a trance can do, what focusing can do, what working with this kind of focusing will do, but we do have to get started. So I'm going to just close with kind of naming some of the other things that I find very useful when thinking about trance work, which is sigil work, chaos magic work. That is about really finding that focal point and only seeing it basically until it becomes reality. And then there's also, this is not my practice, but I find it so fascinating, I can't not speak about it. But for those who hold the tradition of Igungun, that is probably one of the oldest and most ancient traditions of going into a trance so that you can be possessed by your ancestors and kind of dance and many other things that I do not know because it's not my ancestry. And so I'm not really the right person to tell you about it, other than to say that, there are practices of just allowing yourself to be possessed in trance and to really perceive fully just kind of like the power of the spirits who love and support you and appreciate you, so that as they're doing it, they are in full, you are really coming more into yourself in a way too. So that is all basically I have to say about trance. And so we are going to have one meditation today. I feel like I talked a lot, so I'm hoping that we will have enough time. If we go maybe 5 minutes over, that'll probably only be so that we can allow for any shares that come up. Otherwise, I guess I'll just ask for the music to get started. And I just ask for your patience to go with it. If you have trouble kind of getting into it, that's okay. Just be patient with yourself. This isn't about any right answer today. This is merely about kind of the practice of clearing your mind and seeing what happens when you realize that your mind can be clear. So thank you again. If you would like to, now is a great time to sit down or lay down comfortably, basically get yourself into a place of just allowing yourself to relax. Okay. I'm going to begin with a prayer because I do think that while this is not necessarily religious, it is somehow mystical. And so I like to call in that protection in that kind of ceremonial space. So I'm going to start today with a prayer, but you can kind of have your eyes closed, ready to receive, ready to kind of feel whoever wants to show up for you today. So let's begin. Yalla. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Let us all be drawn together on the path today for our greatest and highest good. Let us together draw around us a circle of energy that extends around each and every person in this space, so that as our hearts alight and awaken, we are like stars among the sky, together across dimensions, creating the opportunity for us to go deep within today and to find a kind of mental liberation through the act of trance. I'm gonna take some time now and I call in the 7 directions: the north, the east, the south, the west, the below, the above, and the center. I call in your guides, your ancestors. I call in all the medicine that we are carrying with us today to assist us in finding ourselves, to become closer to spirit. And I also call in my guides, Great Father Ninurta, Mother Ishtar, Hathor, Isis, Sekhmet, Bast, Gilgamesh, Enkidu, Freya, Thor, Mercury, Tehot, Durgama, Shaktima, Kalima, and the many others. And I offer all of our beings great humble gratitude for watching over us, for helping us find our wellness, for allowing us the opportunity to go into trance and receive whatever it is that we are meant to receive. Together now, let's begin with breath work. Starting by just noticing how your breath is right now. No effort, no force. Just what it seems and looks like in its most natural state. Tuning in to the lungs and the heart. And as we're tuning in, we're now going to begin with a little bit of focused breath work as well, to really bring in a kind of clearing, full clearing, physical clearing of the mind and the body space. Breathing in to the count of 9 now, breathing out to the count of 9. When I say 9, we'll breathe in, and when I say 9, we'll breathe out. Breathing in 9. Taking a minute and holding. And 9, breathing out. Breathing in 9. Hold. And breathing out. 9. 9. And 9. We'll do 2 more here. 9. And 9. And as we get into our last kind of thoughtful breath, we are going to be focusing on the magic of the number 9, tapping into the numerological sequencing and meaning of 9 repeating through our lungs, through our heart, through everything, allowing ourselves to welcome in the meaning that everything before this moment, every little thing, is coming to an eventual end, and that we are arriving. Now let us together breathe in this final time to the count of 9, to the vibration of 9. Breathing in 9. And 9. And let's take a few mindful breaths as we allow ourselves to fall back and become more accustomed to the natural rhythm of our lungs with some silence. In this silence and in this moment, we are listening to the self, to the body, to the mind, to the spirit. And we are tuning ourselves to our own channel, increasing the volume of the inner self, and in turn releasing and relinquishing all other thoughts in our mind. Releasing all negative energy we may have come into contact with, and taking the time to be removed of the stress of needing to complete our projects, forgetting about money and chores and food, forgetting about other people, other things, resisting the urge to look away or run away from yourself. For this moment, you are giving yourself the gift of awareness. We are going to spend some time with awareness in the body as well. Letting drains on our power be removed. And so as we are being removed of all of these things, we are also replenishing our energy, bringing in new energy to the legs, the stomach, the chest, the shoulders, and the head. As if we're falling deeply asleep, allowing the body to sleep and to be replenished. As we are moving into the land of dreams. We are going to dream so that we can reawaken as ourselves. And as we are going to dream, as we are replenishing our body, it may begin to feel heavy, weighted down, everything feeling low and cozy. Letting go of the need to hold up our muscles. We allow the floor or the chair to support us and rise up to meet us. The earth is rising to meet us, and through it we are becoming grounded. As we are preparing in fully relaxed, fully at peace state to enter into trance. Everything relaxes, releases, replenishes. We'll take a moment to allow for this peace and this awareness to just sit in the body before our trance begins. One last breath here. As we now may bring an awareness to our eyes. If your eyes have been closed at this point, you may feel called to open them. I recommend beginning with your eyes open, but it's up to you really. Whether you're laying or sitting down, you can look at the wall or look at the floor, tuning into the room that we are in right now, finding the rhythm of the space we are inhabiting. Taking in what you see, what you feel. And also noticing the general quality of the air around you, allowing it to become electrified. Just as the earth rose to meet us, now the air around us is becoming warm with a kind of quantum, atomic, static power. And we are feeling the sensations of our skin and the temperature. As through our third dimensional eyes, we begin to see reality around us. Moving kind of like static on an old television screen, rippling with energy. The more we stare at the air around us, the more everything blurs and becomes out of focus. Notice if your circular mind is wandering, if there's any fears or desires to escape. This is all completely normal. We are slowly welcoming in a pure quieting of the self, bringing in an awareness and an activation to the mind, the brain, the brow, the forehead, the eyes, the back of the head. All nerves and thoughts being released with little to no effort. All tension from the mind releasing as we are seeing and returning to our breath and our awareness again and again with every passing moment. We are in waking dream. We are seeing all. Focusing on nothing and on everything all at once. And from this place, wherever you're looking, whether it's your doorway or your wall, I invite you now to find a portal. One of the best things to do is look into a corner or a shadowy spot, corner in the ceiling, or maybe right at the floor, or a little weird place behind your dresser. And the more you look at it, the more will kind of appear as sort of an amorphous doorway to the great beyond. So take time to see what's opening for you. Is it 3-dimensional, 5-dimensional, a sacred geometric shape, no shape at all, constantly changing or shifting, or No need to fear it. Simply see it. See this as a doorway to your great beyond. And now I'm going to count to 10. Count down from 10. And as I reach the number 1, together we will go into this portal. Counting down now. 10. We ease in to our connection with the power within. 9. We are with the breath. 8. There is nothing on the mind. 7. Our shoulders release. 6. Our third eye opens and opens and opens. 5. The trance begins to mesmerize us. 4. We are becoming entranced and hypnotized by the great magic of the world hidden behind our waking eyes. 3. Together we prepare now for our ability to receive from the helpful spirits and guardians. 2. God consciousness is with us, and we are God consciousness. 1. It begins. Jump right into your doorway. If your eyes have been open until this point, close them now. Receive your vision. Be lost in your trance. And give yourself the permission to simply be quiet, receive, and experience without any kind of judgment, without any concern over the outcomes. We are all taking the plunge together. take about 2 more minutes in this space. Continue to receive whatever it is you need. If you find yourself coming out of it, jump right back in. Now it's time to go. Time to leave this space. Return to our bodies. Return back into this room. And back to reality, where this ability to be in dreaming and be in mesmerization is always, always, always available to you. Thank you so much for being a part of it. The music can stop here now. I'm going to close the live stream. Thank you to all who were watching, and good night. And I will stop the recording.